Hi and welcome to the Car Guys. This week I'm going to be taking this amazing RS6 Avant on an epic road trip down through Europe to Portugal and back again. Come along for the ride. Right, so I suppose you're wondering where it is that we're actually going in this amazing blue RS6. When I first came up with this plan, I didn't realise quite how far away Portugal was. It is quite a long way away. So we are literally starting in London here, and we drive all the way down to Folkestone, where we get on the train right across to Calais, and then from Calais we're going to be driving down probably the E15 into Paris, and then we're going to be staying in Paris for a couple of nights, which is quite nice. From Paris we are going to be taking the E5 E8 into the E9, and we're going to be staying in Limoges. Then from Limoges we run across through Bordeaux down into Spain, and we're going to stay at Pamplona. The next day we head down to Madrid, and then from Madrid we head over down to Faro. So that's the route, and then we're going to do that on the way back, which is obviously why I needed a car that could get us there and back. This is the command center, so this is where all the magic happens. I mean, just amazing, right? I do quite like the carbon bits. They're quite nice. I think they're a nice little extra bit. Cubby holes, multimedia system, everything you can possibly want, really. And of course 200 miles an hour on the speedo, which we won't be doing obviously because we're fine upstanding members of the community. So here we go, off on our mega road trip across Europe. The car's all packed and loaded, and we are ready to rock and roll, heading off down to the Eurotunnel now, and we'll catch up with you in a bit. Can you see the train carriages?
Oh yeah! Whoa, they're massive!
So here we are on the Euro train, just boarded, made our way down here. Car's been absolutely faultless, as you'd expect. I think we managed to average just over 28.5 miles to the gallon as well, which was absolutely shocking. But it's really good, and we're now on our way to France. As you can see, these French motorways are sublime, so we won't have any problems making time. And of course that's one of the other things about driving on the continent, is that when the sat-nav says it's going to take you 2 hours, it generally does, or slightly less, because there's no instant hold-ups or problem. You have to pay to go on French roads, and our toll should work, and it does. Perfect. Right, we've had a lovely couple of days in Paris. Now we're just going to go off, drive down through France to stay with some friends just north of Limoges today, and going to really enjoy, looking forward to the drive. One of the things I've actually really enjoyed about driving this car, its ability to sit on an auto route at 80 miles an hour without flinching. This car feels so solid. It's like having a big brother walking at your side all the time. You know that whatever situation you're going to get yourself into, this car's going to get you out of it. Even at 80 miles an hour, this car's barely doing 2,000 RPM. It feels like it's been hewn out of a solid piece of granite. When you're doing those kind of miles, in that scenario, it's absolutely perfect. Right, so we're just heading out of Pamplona. We came and stopped here last night. We got here, left just north of Limoges yesterday afternoon, and headed down here. The drive through the mountains was absolutely amazing, and it was just incredible to see how green and lush everything was. Saw some incredible stuff, loads of sunflower fields which are growing. So in France at the moment, the sunflowers have all finished, but actually here all the sunflower fields are out, which was lovely for the boys to see. And now we're going to be heading off on our way down to Madrid. Really looking forward to it. Not been to Madrid before, so hopefully it'll be really good. Nice easy journey. Right, so this is us coming into Madrid. Like I say, I've not been here before, so I've never driven in Madrid, but actually this has been really, really easy. Coming into Madrid doesn't seem to be much traffic about, and the roads are very open and wide. Doesn't seem to be any congestion, so this is quite good. And our hotel is only up the road. Right, so that's us done in Madrid. We had a fabulous time, went to the Real Madrid stadium, and now we're on our last leg down to Portugal. One of the things that's quite interesting is obviously we want secure parking for this car overnight. We don't want to leave it on a street in a foreign city with English number plates on it. And we've just gone down into, we parked it last night in this car park in the hotel in Madrid, and we're just getting it out this morning. And as you can see, it's all a little bit tight. I'm really very pleased that that this car has got a lift kit on it, because some of the angles, as you can see here, as you go up and down the ramps, are slightly acute, which means that you have to go very slowly because that front spoiler is quite low to the ground. One thing to watch out for if you do buy one of these, it has enormous 285 section tyres on the front and the rear, all the same all the way around. What that means is that if on very poor UK roads, as we are used to, you happen to find some lorry tracks, this car wants to follow them. There's not an awful lot you can do to stop it from doing that. Right, hi guys, just a little update. We're in Portugal now. Car to this point has been absolutely amazing. Just went out to drop people down at the beach, and I've got an engine warning light come on, which is slightly worrying. That needs investigating. And then just a second ago when I was parking up, just to tell you that, I had a brake pads warning light. Now we knew the rear pads were 80% worn, so I'm guessing we're around about the kind of, maybe we're at 85, 90, I'm not sure what the thresholds are, but I guess at some point in the next day I'm going to have to go and find an Audi garage. I did some search on the internet last night and found that that engine warning light can mean absolutely 1,000 things, which obviously you probably all know. So I'm going to go off to the local Audi dealership, which is about half an hour away, and see if they can chuck a code reader on it, and we'll see what the problem is. Right, well that's fairly disappointing, because I am at the Audi garage, but it appears to be shut. It says that it's supposed to be open, but it clearly isn't. There's a big barrier across and a truck parked in front of the barrier, so I don't know if today's a special day. Obviously the nervousness is that I'm exactly as far away from home as I can possibly get on this trip, and that is going to be fairly tedious when I want to drive the 1,600 plus miles back. Next closest Audi garage is about an hour away. But just driving down this strip, there's loads and loads of car garages down this particular road, and they all seem to be shut. So I'm beginning to think that actually Wednesday's some kind of you can't buy a car day. The reason why we couldn't go to Audi yesterday was because it was a public holiday, Assumption Day, not as I suspected, you can't buy a car on a Wednesday day. So got the car out, just got in it, driving up the road, and I've looked down, and guess what? No more engine light. So frankly, I think this car's winding me up. So obviously I've done nearly 2,000 miles in this car now. The things that still annoy me are this silly flat bottom steering wheel. This is completely pointless and annoying when you're trying to do manoeuvring. Things I do like is the fact that it's a big heavy estate. And actually I spend probably most of the time in comfort mode, because of the miles that we've done, i.e. most of it's motorway, most of it's round town. Now here in Portugal, anything other than comfort mode for the suspension means you're going to lose a rib, teeth, maybe one of your vertebrae, because the roads here aren't amazing. But other than that, it is still really easy and comfortable and nice to drive. It drives beautifully. You don't get any issues with it jumping about and being a bit too frisky. It just gets on with the job at hand. Right, so that was a lovely week spent in Portugal. Just about to get in the old beast and head back across Spain and France, back to the UK. Here we go, coming into Barcelona for the first time. And we had a good journey down here from Madrid yesterday. The car park is no better than the last one. In fact, this one I think is even a bit tighter. So just going to squeeze her in here, park her up for the night, go and check in, and go and do some more sightseeing. So a couple of things that I've learned from driving in northern Spain, this doesn't actually happen that much in southern Spain, is speed limits are kind of optional. On the AP7 yesterday from Valencia up to Barcelona, sat at 80 miles an hour for the entire time, and yet I was getting past like I was standing still. I mean, they must have been doing well over 100. And I thought toll roads timed you before you went across, but clearly not. So that was an amazing experience. Just driven the public road sections of the Le Mans circuit on our way back to the UK. We're now driving down the Mulsanne Straight. Yeah, what a great thing to do. If you get the opportunity, just hop in and then try that. Just drive up and down. It's absolutely fantastic. They've added some additional roads since I came back in 1999. I know, a long time ago. But yeah, brilliant fun. So here we are, back in the UK. That's the end of a 3-week mega road trip. We've managed 3,805 miles door to door. We've averaged 27 miles to the gallon, which is frankly unbelievable considering the size and power that this engine puts out. The car has been magnificent. It's absolutely rock solid. We had a bit of a wobble in Portugal with an engine light, but that just disappeared after a couple of days. I'd kind of opened the bonnet, and because I'd read that kind of resets the system, so I did that, and it went. So apart from the kind of brake pad warning light coming on, which we kind of knew before we took the car anyway, it's been absolutely fantastic. Has not missed a beat. So the stats are 3,805 miles, 27 miles to the gallon, 54 miles an hour average speed, and 68 hours of seat time. It's been absolutely amazing. Honestly, this thing is incredible. It has so many different personalities. Sitting on those auto routes in comfort mode, it just feels like a really dependable wide truck. Just feels like a really dependable big brother standing there at your side, hand on your shoulder. Don't you worry, we've got this covered. 80 miles an hour all day long. Doesn't even flinch. And then you get somewhere with a few twisties, you stick it into dynamic mode, and literally your hair is on fire. This car is so quickly, I have managed to get at least 4 different people do this. Because you have to, right? Because that's what it's there for. Totally comfortable as well. 9 hours we did on the last day back, and actually I didn't get out of it feeling particularly cramped or sore or needed to stretch my legs, which is saying something for someone of my age. The adaptive radar cruise control can be a little bit agricultural in its on and off the throttle, which doesn't make for smooth progress if you're in traffic, so I tended to go turn that off if there was any more than sort of half a dozen cars around. Would I own one on a permanent basis? Now obviously this car was bought specifically for the trip, but I think I probably would. I absolutely love big, solid, massive engine German saloons. It's always been a passion. My only problem with it is that obviously round town, when you're on and off the throttle and you're queuing traffic and you're going roundabouts and things like that, it's not particularly efficient. So it does suddenly become a kind of 14 to 15 miles to the gallon car. On a fill up, it would say it had 435 miles to go on the tank. I think that if you ran this round town, it'd probably say 200, and it costs nearly 100 quid to fill up. So if you don't mind that and you can afford it, then brilliant. I've got a feeling it's going to be in the Car Guys collection for a little while though, because of what it is. Do I think you should go out and buy one? I think second hand at 5 years old, this has done an awful lot of its original money, so it is a bit of a bargain. The thing you have to remember always with these big fast Audi estates is potentially the bills are going to be excessive. I don't know how long a set of tyres is going to last, but I think if you're driving it quite hard, not very long, you're probably looking at £1,000 for a set of tyres, and because it's four-wheel drive, you really ought to replace all axles at the same time. Servicing and brakes, probably just normal costs, but there's an awful lot to go on. I don't think these are as bad as the old V10s or the original V8 RS6s, but it's not going to be something that you can just buy and then expect to spend a couple of £100 a year on. So I guess the question is, would I rather have had the Phaeton for this trip? No! Are you mental? Of course not! What the Phaeton can't do is that when you're feeling a little bit bored and you haven't got the kids in the car and there are some twisty roads around, switch this bad boy into dynamic mode and literally your hair's on fire. This thing is so fast, it's just a joke. It's so quick. And in dynamic mode, which is where we are at the moment, it handles amazingly. Sorry, having to concentrate very fast. So I guess that kind of wraps it up, really. It's been an amazing trip. We've seen some amazing things. We've driven through mountain roads. We've seen old Jaguars. We've seen aerial Atoms. We've seen old Alpinas. We have seen some incredible stuff. We've squeezed it into tight little hotel car parks, tried to squeeze it back out again. We've had a few intakes of breath as we've gone over big mountain passes, but it's been supreme. I hope that you've enjoyed the journey, and I hope that you've enjoyed the highlights, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, leave comments, tag that notification bell so that you can get our next videos when they arrive, and then I'll see you on the next one.